All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are watching the most electrifying podcast in all of internet radio today. You are watching the Sportswire. Sportswire Live check-in. My name is Vinny Apicella, and I am here with you. Today is Wednesday, I believe, June 3rd, 2020, and I will say that 2020 is probably one of the worst years in history that I've known and I've lived through. We've got everything from COVID-19 to why do I have so many dropped frames? COVID-19, then we've got the murder hornets. Then now we're at rioting and looting. Uh, so much garbage going on here in the U.S. And of course, everybody's blaming Trump because, God forbid, people recognize that he's not racist. But whatever it is, the sad part is we live in a time where people, if you don't agree or don't believe what they do or what they agree or what they say, they're going to try to cancel you and get you fired from your job, which is absolutely ridiculous. Like, it's okay if people don't agree with you, if people don't have uh, the same ideas and the same thoughts as you. It's okay. That's the point of having a free country. Freedom of expression, freedom of, uh, freedom of choice and freedom of the press and everything else. It's okay that people don't agree with you. But, you get a lot of these liberals out there, liberals and Democrats, that if you don't agree with them, if you don't, let's see, if you don't like that, then unfortunately, um, you get to the point where people are trying to cancel you. That's the cancel culture that we're in right now. So it's sad, but it's the truth. Okay, what I'm going to do is I am trying to get people to actually come and watch this, but I just shared it on Twitter. Here's the thing. Here's what I don't. Here's what I don't like. Okay, I don't like the idea of this cancel society, this cancel culture. Okay, I'm going to put out a statement here. It's going to be on forever on YouTube. I support the people who are of different races and cultures and ethnicities, and I support black people. I support Chinese people. I support Hispanic people. I'm friends with people from every background and nationality, and I support all of them. Here's the difference, okay? I do not support Black Lives Matter. I will never use that hashtag. I will never support that group. That group is domestic terrorism. That group is the group that's going around looting and rioting. Now, here's the deal, okay? Yes, black lives do matter. Yes, black people do matter. It's a travesty what happened in Minneapolis, where George Floyd was killed by 4 cops because of whatever reason it was. He was arrested for for passing off a counterfeit $20 bill, and you're always innocent until proven guilty. At least that's how it's supposed to be. But for a lot of people, and this is white people included, I'm not just saying black people. Floyd, unfortunately, that situation between the officer Chauvin and, if I'm even mentioning his name right, and George Floyd, that was a lot of times in the making. That was premeditated murder. From what I have researched and found out, that Chauvin and Floyd had worked together, Floyd being in security, Chauvin the cop, and apparently they never got along, or there was some beef or whatever you want to call it. There was some issues between them, and unfortunately, it just never got better. So when Chauvin was called to arrest this man for passing off, I don't like that. But, for us, obviously, we can't decide that now unless you test the $20 bill. But then again, he may not have known that he had it. So that's the problem. Now, I was corrected. I was wrong in a couple of things. Being in prison, seeing it on the street, I have seen people put their knee on the back of somebody's neck to disable them, to put them, if they were fighting. But this guy was already handcuffed, so he couldn't even get the upper hand on the cops. He was already handcuffed. And then when you see the other side of the car, there were two other cops on him. So there was no need for that cop to have his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck. Now, we know this. It doesn't bear repeating, but the fact is that it was wrong. It was in my opinion, first-degree murder. That's the unfortunate problem that we have. There are a lot of I don't want to say a lot, but there are dirty cops, and unfortunately, people are taking it out on all the cops. Do there need to be changes? Yes, but we've gone through this before, okay? We've gone through this before. And I don't want to hear anything about quote-unquote white privilege. There's none of that, okay? Yes, there was slavery back in the 1800s and earlier, 1700, whatever. There's still slavery going on in Africa, okay? And black people were the first slave owners. So, and then it went to white people, and it was all in the South. And, eventually we know our social history, our social studies. We know that eventually the black people became free thanks to Abraham Lincoln, a Republican. And eventually everything started to get better. I don't want to say get better, because we're not at a place where it is better. And I've never faced any kind of racial profiling or whatever. I've never faced any of that because of my skin color. I've faced bullying because of being overweight. I've faced bullying for a lot of other reasons, never because of my skin color. If that's the only thing you go on based off of white privilege, well, then there's a problem, because privilege would, in my opinion, contain something like you had better access to money or better access to a better way of life. And while that was the case back in, the early 1900s, things have turned around. When I was growing up, yes, there were some of my black friends who were in better positions than I. They were able to go to better colleges, whether it be on a scholarship or whether it be with their parents being able to pay it. Unfortunately, I didn't have that luxury. So when people say, "Oh, you've had white privilege," I've never seen it. I have never seen it. So my whole thing is, I understand. Okay, I understand why black people get nervous around the cops. We've seen it all. Okay, we've seen it all. But here's what you don't understand. Okay, here's what you don't understand. The only times that arrests or cop killings are, when somebody's being pulled over or whatever, the only times you see it is if they're black and it's a white cop. You don't see all of them, okay? Because the media doesn't report it, because that's not news. That won't make ratings. Unfortunately, the mainstream media uses the race card for ratings. If they know that something is going to be a hot button topic, white cop, black arrestee, or black, criminal, for lack of a better term, alleged criminal, yeah, that's going to generate more buzz. It's the buzzwords. Okay? Should there be better policing the police? Yes, there should. I'm not denying that. I am saying that for sure. There should be better policing the police officers. Okay, or yeah, I mean, you can't test someone to see if they're racist while they're in the academy because they can easily just give whatever answer you want to hear. It's by their actions, and we know that. We know that it's not about being able to test anybody prior to prior to them getting a badge or whatever. You can't do that because you could go through the same thing and lie your ass off. I mean, I'm sure there are lie detectors. I know a friend of mine who became a cop went through a lie detector to become a cop, but those are not admissible in court. So they're I mean, yeah, they're used, but not fully. What I don't understand, what I don't like is why take it out on businesses? Like, that's one of my biggest things. That's why I think there's so many people, why there's such a divide. Yes, there are people who are protesting peacefully, and I will add Colin Kaepernick's name into it. He was protesting peacefully. Okay, I don't like the method he used by kneeling for our national anthem because that was a disrespect to our country and our nation and our flag. Okay, but that was a peaceful protest. But here's the thing. He only did it to get his 15 minutes of fame because his skills as a quarterback sucked. Okay, he didn't go out into his community or use some of his hard earned money to send inner city kids to college or to get them out of the hood or the ghetto or get to break that cycle. No, he just knelt for the national anthem and then cut a promo during an interview on our, at that time, soon-to-be president. Which was, of course, lies, because that's what they do. People who want attention, they lie. Because they'll make up whatever they have to say. Donald Trump is not racist. Never has been, never will be. Okay? And, they're bringing up all this stuff from back in the time with his father and the real estate stuff. That was basically him not wanting to accept Section 8 clients into his property. And I don't blame him. If I would, I mean, granted, Section 8 is a government program where a landlord is guaranteed their rent money every month. But the problem is, you get to the point where, the problem is you get to the point where, how many bits do I have left? Sorry, I'm add some more bits. Anyways, with that said, you don't understand that, most Section 8 people are on the poorer side, and a lot of them are black, African American, if that isn't even PC to say anymore. I don't care about PC, politically correctness. I don't care about that. But anyways, we've gone through this, okay? And yes, I know the name of my show is Sportswire, but I'm getting to the point where this needed to be said, okay? And I'm going to read the same thing I put on Twitter yesterday. If you follow me at @VApicella SWE, okay? Here's what I wrote yesterday. Trying to find it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pin. There we go. Okay. Here's what I wrote, and this is my official statement on everything. Okay. I will never understand what a black person has gone through in their lives. However, with that said, I will also never understand the term white privilege. I was never privileged growing up. In fact, there were some of my black friends who grew up better off than me. The point is that it doesn't always come down to the color of your skin as to how your life turns out. It comes down to the choices you or your parents make based on the options you have available to you. Some have more, some have less, and yes, it's disproportionate. Disproportionate based on skin color, but it's not always that way. Are there racist people? Yes, there are both white and black racists. Are there dirty cops? Yes, there are both white and black dirty cops, but that doesn't mean all whites are racist or all cops are dirty. There does need to be a change, and I will stand and support my black friends and those black celebrities I look up to. But to answer violence with more violence is not the way. There are better ways to protest peacefully. And that's what it comes down to. And I know there are some people saying, oh, the white people are starting the looting. And if they are, they're liberals. They're from Antifa. They want to cause that divide because we saw it after the election in 2016. And Lord only knows what we're going to see after the election in 2020 after President Trump wins re-election. I mean, who knows? You know, it's sad to say that that's where we're at. You know, we're going to see more rioting and more looting because, quote unquote, Orange Man bad. Instead of realizing that President Trump has done more for the black communities in his 3.5 years in office than even Obama did in 8. And Obama was half black. So for all those people who look up to Obama as there's change, the first black man as president. Well, you know what? He did nothing for your community. He did nothing for your community. He was an enemy to our country. Okay? All socialists are, including Bernie Sanders and the like. And Joe Biden can't remember what the hell he does from day to day. You know, it's sad, but whatever. It is what it is. I recommend if you want to make changes, okay, get out and vote. You know, don't just take the same options that you took all your life, okay? And here's the problem. Here's what I see, okay? The people who are protesting peacefully are those people who got out of the hood, okay? Who got out of their low-income housing, who got out of their low-income lifestyle and made the options themselves, and they're protesting the how the hell is it running out of oh, okay. You know, it's like you get to the point where you get to the point where you wonder how this happens. Protesters, like I said, there's a difference between protests and riots. Protesters and rioters. Peaceful protesters are the ones that made the opportunities for themselves and want to see justice, want to see the cops be held accountable for what happened, and want to make sure they're not afraid to go out and deal with the cops, you know, because cops are there to protect and serve, or they're supposed to be. There are, like I said, there are dirty cops, okay? What I don't like is the rioting and the looting and the, you know, the shooting. You know, there was a black cop that was just killed during this rioting, okay? David Dorn, his life mattered too, or did it not because he was a cop? Well, you know, get out of your situation. Instead of just saying, oh, I can't do it, or oh, the government's against me, or the cops are against me, or what have you, get out of your situation and do it. Yes, it may be hard. You may have to work for it. You may have to go get a job at a supermarket or McDonald's to save up money. You may have to take out student loans, which you can get, but that means you have to go to class and actually learn something instead of just sitting there selling drugs, if that's what you choose to do, okay, or sitting there having to get a job because your mother's got, you know, 5 other kids, and you know there's no income coming to the house because she can't work because she got 5 kids. You have to put your foot down and say, you know what, I want better. And any parent will want better for their kids. Okay, and I apologize if I've used stereotypes that, you know, that have been stereotypical black, but it's white too. Okay, it's white people too, because I've seen a lot of white people who are, you know, public welfare recipients and who just want to live off the state and then complain when something happens and they get arrested because they're doing something wrong. Okay, and it's not just black. It's white too. It's Hispanic. It's Asian. Although a lot of the Asians come to go to college. But there are some that, you know, whatever. It is what it is. The fact is that it doesn't come down to black versus white all the time. Okay? Make the changes. Go to school, become a lawyer. It may take 7 years in college to become a lawyer, but you go to school and you make those changes. Go up through politics. Link up with the top-notch Republicans to make changes. Okay? And that's all there is to it. Look back on what your parents did and change those choices. You don't have to live your parents' lives. If you're the product of a single parent household, like I was, my parents were divorced, okay? If you're the product of a single parent household and you want to make changes, well, then you become a gentleman or you become a lady. And don't just start sleeping around with whoever just to get your rocks off. And again, that's not just one race. That's every race. That's across the board. Okay? But be responsible. Take responsibility. Take accountability. Yes, cops need to take responsibility for their shit too. Okay, cops need to be held accountable. And that's why I want to see all 4 of those cops charged with murder. Because that's exactly what it was. Whether or not 3 of them took place, and it was just one guy, it doesn't matter. You stood by. You didn't take that guy off his neck to say, dude, you're going too far, or he can't breathe. It is what it is. It sucks. It's ridiculous, but there's nothing you could do to the point to bring him back. Honor his memory, protest for him, seek justice, do what you have to do, and I will stand and support you. I will not stand and support rioting and looting, especially when you're in the neighborhoods of small mom and pop businesses that have grown from the ground up, and now you're burning everything down because of an incident. Okay, yes, it sucks, but that doesn't mean to answer with more violence, because now you're a criminal. Okay, you're setting a fire for criminal intent. You're stealing items and merchandise from stores for what reason? All right, well, that's about it, and I apologize that I apologize if I've used some stereotypes in this thing. It was nothing meant to be racially divided. I stand with black people. I stand with Hispanic people. I stand with Chinese and Asian and Japanese and Polynesian and Hawaiian and all people, European, around the world. White, black, blue, green, yellow, brown, whatever color you are. Okay, even the green people like Shrek, and the purple people like Peanut. I stand with all of you because there needs to be change. There needs to be change, but I will not support the group Black Lives Matter. Black lives do matter. The group doesn't care, though. I hope you all enjoyed this. Like I said, I apologize if I've hurt anybody's feelings, and the stereotypes that I've used were not racially driven. Have a great day, folks. Follow me on Twitter at VApicella, Follow Sportswire on Twitter at Sportswire Audio, and then on Instagram at Sportswire Audio. Enjoy the rest of your day.